服务。虽然有语言的障碍，但他年年回来参加 TIMA 的年会。在今年的开幕上，我们有看到巴拉圭连线的身影，那就是他家里的医生。现在就让我们一起透过这一段影片来怀念巴拉圭的胡安梅沙医师。
Para venir, estoy volando 50 horas, pero no siento cansado yo cuerpo, porque yo pienso que voy a llegar a Hualien a verle a la maestra, a estar con todos los compañeros médicos. Queremos venir a pedir cosas, ¿verdad? Y esta vez venimos a agradecer porque tenemos muchas cosas en Paraguay, por más que sea un país pobre, estamos organizados y estamos ayudando a la gente pobre.
我就会想到我这位弟子，虽然是跟我语言不相同，但是呢，跟师父的心很贴切，年年都归来。他在那里当医生，一家6位医师，他都是很有爱心在付出。生生世世都在菩提中，依然发心，但愿生生世世都在菩提中。
Maestra siempre nos enseñó es que hay que ir brindar amor, hay que brindar compasión, y dentro de la medicina eso es muy importante, porque la persona tiene que tener mucha paciencia, mucha compasión, mucho amor por el ser humano.
我们一定要相信，生命原来就是可以这样的好好的利用它，把握当下，恒持刹那。
感恩梅沙医师，我曾有幸在2014年的 TIMA 在 TIMA 上呢，遇到坐在轮椅上仍然笑容满面来参加活动的梅沙医师。我相信我们永远都不会忘记他爽朗的笑容，还有他的仁医典范。接下来呢，我们要连线到印尼，邀请到的第一位菩萨是慈济建筑委员会召集人曾国奎师兄。因为呢，他和慈济印尼分会副执行长郭在元师兄呢是儿女亲家，郭在元师兄请他帮忙来盖印尼的慈济静思堂。当时他说了一句：“我只是来帮忙而已”，就一直帮忙到了今天。第二位呢是郭在元师兄，阿元师兄面对上人的指示，一律都回答没问题，所以呢，大家就称他为没问题师兄。但在没问题的背后，当然也面对了许多考验，但他永远都是勇敢的承担。第三位是印尼的曾文玉师姐。文玉师姐呢，是慈济印尼企业家团队的重要推手。她对上人、对慈济的那一份执心，真的让人感动。我记得文玉师姐说：“我的人生就是慈济，现在最重要的也是慈济。”现在就让我们用热烈的掌声连线到印尼，跟3位师兄师姐打个招呼。
For 3 of them.
我们把麦克风交到印尼。
So we hand over the microphone to Indonesia. Good evening, MC. Dear Master Chen Ye, and all the senior volunteers from Foundation, good evening. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to invite us to do the sharing. Today we are going to do the 3 topics. The first topic is the great affinity. The second one, how we have done the prevention of pandemic. Then the first time we have dispatched all the PPE to more than 1,068 hospitals and local organizations. Now I'll show you a clip produced by the Dai TV. Love and care. Hope. United together to relieve the pandemic suffering. In the end of the November of 2019, the pandemic spread quickly, including Indonesia. By the April 29th this year, the virus had hit more than 200 countries, accumulated more than 30,000 cases, while the 95,000 cases have been cured, and the death toll has reached 22,000. And the WHO have announced this as an emergency of World Health. From that day on, Indonesia suffered from the rising confirmed cases numbers. From the several hospitals who in charge of taking care of the infected patient in lack of the PPE, even wear the raincoat as a PPE. During the pandemic, many healthcare doctors and nurses they just away from their families. By the April 29th, the special team of the pandemic have announced that the death toll has reached 773 cases in Indonesia. And Tzu Chi provide the PPE to the several hospitals in Indonesia. In order to help the whole country and citizens to face this pandemic crisis, and Tzu Chi Foundation coordinate with the government to provide the PPE to the public organizations. From the April 4th to the May 3rd, Tzu Chi Indonesia chapters provide all those aid supplies to the capital and the main hospital of the capital. From March 18 to April 19, we have provided more than 723 health clinic, more than 1 million tests, and 111 ventilators, and more than 16,000 disinfectant sprays. I'm here to say thank you to you all, because this is kind of a manifestation of a unity, not just comfort our anxiety. We also need all those PPE urgently. From this point, we can tell the care between us, and also what was needed in the front line. apart from impact the whole medical field, it also impact the economy of Indonesia, especially the low-income citizens. The Indonesia chapter immediately prepared all the supply aids. The recipient we're going to distribute is those without income. So, 实际 volunteer coordinate with all the government organizations to do the distribution. Those organizations including the military and the presidential secretary and the police organization. We need to help each other because we are family together. We need to coordinate with one heart. Even this 1,000 supply isn't that much, but with such activity can encourage everyone to work together. No matter the action we take is big or small, it can unite every one of us. The beautiful hometown is wondrous in the world. It's like a beautiful piecework from the God. And the honorable country. Indonesia is my country. With everyone's prayers and hopes, we hope can end the pandemic as soon as possible and work together. I will use all my power and everything, contribute my voice here.
So thank you to the ITV in Indonesia for producing this clip. So all of the volunteers, because sharing with everyone, next will be our brother Guo Zaibian, who will be sharing with us what our chapter has been doing under this pandemic. So all masters, master of the abode, CEOs and TIMA family members, good evening. First, I would like to represent all of us to say thank you to Brother Zai Yuan and Brother Rong Nian, because they have contributed so much and brought the business world in Indonesia. First, in Indonesia, we had our first case of COVID-19 in March the 2nd, and the two of you went to see the president at only 4 days after. So what did you talk to the president about? Well, it was indeed very wondrous conditions, because the two of us have been working together in Tsuji, Indonesia. So at first we found out about the outbreak in Wuhan. So when we went to see the president, we told him that we talked about how we were supposed to cope with it, and he asked us what we could do economically. So during the meeting, I gave him a very good suggestion that Indonesia had just completed hosting the Asian Games, and we had a very large village for the athletes that could accommodate more than 10,000 people. So I told the president that if we can turn this into a hospital for quarantine patients, then we can hold a lot of patients. So we converted the athletes village into a hospital, and currently there are 5,000 patients inside, but its maximum capacity is 10,000. So this became reality, and now we see the outbreak getting a little more serious in Indonesia, but it is generally still under control. Next, we'll talk about how we went onto the streets to ask for donations. So Brother Arvin, would you tell us how you went about this fundraising effort? Well, I talked to other what we want to do was at large scale. We want to benefit the whole society, be responsible to the society. That's what I told other business people. And because if we only do a little bit, then that it is not very meaningful. In Indonesia, we do not have a national budget for this, and because this is a very large amount of money, so if we want to use a large amount of money, then it was not easy. But we needed to get the supplies that we needed before the pandemic got too bad. So Brother Aryan, how did you invite other business people to work together under Tzu Chi's umbrella? I saw the roster. I saw 169 companies taking part, and many of these are very big companies, such as Esther Jarum. So Esther Jarum, these are automobile companies and tobacco companies. They donated about $3 million US each. Why were they willing to work with us? Well, I think it is because of the history of Tzu Chi in Indonesia. We are very grateful to Tzu Chi volunteers for their work over the past 20 years. I joined Tzu Chi in 2002, and when I first started, the Indonesian people could see what we were doing. And this time that's what I talked. This is how I talk to these businesses. They are my friends, and I tell them that in this time of the pandemic, this is their time to give back to society. If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? This is a global pandemic. And I told them that while we are helping other people, we are in fact helping ourselves, because we are in this pandemic together. So every phone call that we made to these business people, we told them that what we're going to do, what supplies we needed to buy, to where we are going to bring these supplies. Now, if we do a good job I think that in Indonesia, besides the government, Tzu Chi does the best relief work. And of course, since what happened in 1998 until the HA earthquake in 2004, and also the flood in 2002, to our building the Great Love Villages, we have seen Tzu Chi volunteers in all of these disasters and recovery efforts. We're indeed grateful to the volunteers, but we see that the participation of businesses is very important. And Brother Aryu and Brother Rongnian, your humility and your change, the example that you set for the other business people have been very moving. I see that Tzu Chi has done a very complete report to tell other people about what we have done, what supplies we have given to which communities. So we presented these reports to the businesses and also to the government. Would you also share with us a bit more about this? Well, we kept telling these business people that the donations, where do these donations go? It was something we needed to report to the president about. And also, we were audited by the by Ernst and Young to with our this effort was audited by the accounting firm. So all the supplies we procured, where they are distributed, this is all well documented. So if anyone has any question, they can come find out about how their donations were used. And this is the way that we have been doing things in Tzu Chi. And because this time we had very wondrous conditions over the past 10 years. Since 2002, Brother Tzu Xian came to Indonesia and kick-started our effort in disaster relief. He gave us a lot of experience, shared with the volunteers and worked together. So now we have a good team led by Sister Su Mei in Indonesia, as while I was staying in Singapore. So Sister Su Mei was the head coordinator in Jakarta. She often worked late into the night. I'm very grateful to all the volunteers in Indonesia. And we're grateful to Sister Su Mei. Thank you to all of our family members. So first time we reported to Master Cheng Yen at the end of March, Master said that our direction is correct and we are doing the best and most appropriate things. We're not doing it for ourselves, and that everyone working together in the Indonesian chapter was very critical to our success. Yes, Master has taught us how to work in Tzu Chi. This was very important because we have Tzu Chi spirit and everyone is taking on responsibility. We see this as our personal mission. And as we're working on these things, everyone understands each other. We understand the situation in Indonesia, that without these supplies, then we can see chaos happening in society, such as we were the only source of PPEs, and many doctors died because of the lack of PPEs. And we also distributed ventilators.
On March, when we're going to buy the medical aid, they are also hitting, the pandemic was also hitting Europe, and they are also trying to get the medical aids in the market. But therefore, we have the Malaysian volunteers to help us to get the medical aid for us. In Taiwan headquarters, also help us with a lot of medical aid and also tell us how to do it. Because of all this are having a lot of people's efforts and help to make it happen. We're truly thankful to have Master Cheng Yen, also religion department, and also the volunteers from China. And Father Zhai Yuan tell us about how the Minister of Health and also the head of COVID-19 and also Minister of State Enterprise. And for these three people, they really help us and they support us. Could you please share about how them help us through this mission? Because in western of the Indonesia, and there's a river. Master Cheng Yuan told us to clean that river, and he also, one of the officers came to us, and then at that time we didn't clean the river, we didn't finish it yet, and they joined us, and then we know each other, and he is the person responsible for that river. He knows how we do it, how we did our volunteer work. And he is the head of COVID-19 task force. And this is the person in the middle of the picture. And he's also in charge of the tax-free thing. He also believes in Qi Ji. Any question, he also came to us or request us how we can help. Therefore, for now, he also knows that how government can help the people locally, and how Qi Ji can help too. We take different part of the road, and we do the distribution. We separate our work but cooperate with each other. And the other one, the Minister of Health, and he's the superintendent of one hospital. He knows Qi Ji for a long, long time. Therefore, when I know him for a long time. So therefore, because of this kind of connection, it's much easier for we to communicate. And we believe each other. And we know what we need and how we can talk to each other. And because of this special relationship, that's how we could carry on the relief work. And for the person on your right-hand side, the Minister of State Enterprise, he knows us for a long time. He has been helping us for a long time about the flight in Indonesia. And he's very young. Whenever we need a flight, and then he say yes to us when we schedule what time, and then he make it happen for us. He has been knowing Qi Ji for a long time, especially for the relief work. He knows all the process, how we got to do it. Sisters and brothers, let's listen to Officer Long John. He's sharing. I'm handling COVID-19 and also helping. Many relief work has been done. In the early time, the Qi Ji chapter in Indonesia has been helped the survivors building 2,000 houses. And Qi Ji Indonesian chapter had been done a lot and take care of each other. And it's the true model for the Bodhisattva, for the people. I sincerely want to say my thank you to volunteers in the Indonesia chapter. In the future, we'll continue our great love and also humanitarian and recycling mission together. Brother Ayuan, I want to share with you Mr. Tjandranegara for this video. He been recorded for over 10 times to make it happen. It's quite difficult for him, but we can also see his sincerity of himself, and also the secretary of the president, and how many things we had been delivered, and how do we know them? Could you please tell us? And about the relief work in Indonesia, until today, we're still doing the relief work, the distribution locally. Until July, not now, but until July, we had been distributed over 400,000 to the people who in need. And also the president also invited us, asking us to sending over 5,000 tons of the rice to the people who in need. We were invited by the president after hearing from their sharing. Because of all these chances, we can deliver the aid. We have to thank for all the dedication in the from the Indonesian volunteers, and also during the time that officer, he used to be one of the local officer while we were cleaning the Angke River, and he was the person accompanied with me to go around along the Angke River, and he knows how we did it while we were cleaning the Angke River. Therefore, I can say that he really know how we do our duty task. So therefore, when he tried to search us and ask us can help with the government, that's because he had the connection many years ago while we were cleaning the Angke River. And I truly thank him too. For this time, our volunteers in Indonesia, we want to thank Long Yuan father, and then he gave us a capsule, and a capsule we sent it to the police officers. And what is the Lotus capsule? And the Lotus capsule that was on April, Father Rong Yuan, he suddenly asked me, "What do you think? The capsule, they heard that in Italy they've been using this capsule, and it's possible we could have that in Indonesia, imported to Indonesia from Italy, and we got 20,000 of the capsule. In the beginning, it wasn't easy to send it to the people, especially for the doctor. They couldn't really understand the Chinese herb. Is that really helping the COVID-19? And I also go to the governors of Western or Eastern Indonesia about the capsule. And then later, that way that can't work. So I didn't give up. We went to see the officers of police. And then, do you have any? How about can you have the people to trial in Jingguang groups? And they are recovered well. So they found out they have the evidence of how the capsule really work. So how we deliver and distribute all these capsules. And that's have the budget who will suffer from the COVID-19, and can we distribute those capsules to them? And after distribution, after they used the capsule, the feedback was really good. And then later on, I asked from the police officers and asked them to help us to do the distribution with the capsules. For now, it's not how we find the people to try to have the capsule, but now it's the groups, the organizations are asking for the capsule, to apply for the capsule. So therefore, for the Lotus capsule medicine, if it's who just suffer from the COVID-19, it's really helpful. It's really useful, especially cope with their disease. Within 5 days, they can recover from the disease. Therefore, for every day, we still distribute with the Lotus capsule. For now, we add one thing on. For each person who receives the capsule, who can't work, and we'll also give them the good aid to help them and try to solve their problem of their basically daily living. So because of the help of the police, it's much easier. For them, the police can help us deliver the items to their household. It's quite different how we did it before. So for now, we send the items to their house, not how we did. In the early time, we send they come to us to queue up. and also accompanied with the police and also volunteers. They made a good help. And thank for Brother Ayuan, brothers and sisters, because of the pandemic, Tzu Chi has been helped, impact in the society, and many internet celebrities and allowed to criticize are talking about us. Now to share with you, Vavet.com is a Aboriginal from Indonesia. So there's a appreciation letter to Tzu Chi and provide all the PPE. So by this Monday, we received their letter of the appreciation. So some it is heard that the reason why they asked for Tzu Chi for help because Tzu Chi help provide assistance regardless the religion boundaries, and they provide all these supply aids for free. Of course, many people also appreciate the Tzu Chi Foundation. So another celebrity on internet, who is a Christian, and he said, we need to unite it together to go through the pandemic. So because I'm a Christian, I will call on all the Christians here to raise a donation to Tzu Chi Foundation. And the donation he connected is similar to 4,000 NTD. And we have other more people to express their appreciation. Next is the Samuel Tajaya, who expressed the appreciation on the Facebook. They say the photo is shows that they provide the PPE to the police organization, and now they are going to do the fundraising to help the medical members. So I've been noticed the Tzu Chi Foundation for a long time. Every event that they organized touched me so much. They always support the needy in low key. So I just admire the Tzu Chi volunteers' noble deed. I think they love everyone, just they love themselves. They never complain, and they always try their best to do their duty to give and give. There are very few members of this society, but they always do the selfless contributions. They are the warrior of the humanitarian. I wish the Tzu Chi volunteer happy and healthy. I'm so touched. And recently, there's a professor from the journalism from the Indonesia University. He shared there's a program on TV. He said, so when I watch the news, and I noticed that there's a Chinese entrepreneur who donates so much money to alleviate the pandemic suffering. So the Chinese people here, they are not from Indonesia, and they also help to reduce the loading of the local government, not just entrepreneur.
Also, we have so many low-key Chinese to contribute themselves. One of them is who donated one land, who passed away from the pandemic. And the Chinese said his children always asked him to move to US, but he rejected. He regarded Indonesia as his hometown. He wanted to stay here to fight with all Indonesia. Another person is the Muslim teacher, Isumuddin Madun, and she expressed gratitude online, and she wrote an article. So in 2010, the Muslim disciple here is only 1%. And so most of the other religion people, including the other religion people, they also help to raise fund here. But the 90% of the population in Indonesia are Muslim. We haven't to help the about raising. The theme of the article is, where are they? So when the time is changing to the great love, then where are all those Muslim people going? I hope we can resolve all the conflict, religion conflict here. We are all family. We need to try to transform ourselves to a perfect people. It's a sincere sentence, which is we are all family, one family. Another TV program called 实际 Beyond Boundaries. The question from the MC are perfect. And the attendees, including Brother Chen Fengling and Su Lis, and the general from the Da'ai school, Brother Wang Huili, and Dr. Tony is from the superintendent of Da'ai hospital. The answer they provide are perfect as well. In the beginning, the MC said, since Tzu Chi has been here for 27 years. So from the very beginning story, how Master Zhen Yan set up the Tzu Chi territory mission. Then Father Long Nian replied that in Tzu Chi Foundation, we are learning how to do the charity. Just like Master Zhen Yan teach us, we need to accommodate with each other. And Mr. Huang taking as a role model to clean up the Angke River. And the other good example is like entrepreneur from the Cinemas group. They encourage their staff to become the volunteers. So we need to learn what we have done couldn't be greater than Tzu Chi's contribution. So two of the Tzu Chi school's students, they were asked whether they learned the Tzu Chi humanitarian from the foundation. They said, yes, they do. Finally, the Dr. Sugianto said, according to Master Zhen Yan, we need to contribute our value as a human being. So, like to learn from the Tzu Chi volunteers, it's moderable contribution. So we really appreciate their gratitude.
Next, we'll ask Brother Aryan about the impact of this pandemic. The impact is so big that no one can be spared from it, and it impacts the lives of every one of us as well as the world economy. How do we face this pandemic? I'd like to share my personal experience. I have been in Tzu Chi since 2002. And every time I hear Master's teaching, she asks us to be vigilant. While we are still living in a relative peace and safety, we need to think about the impermanence and not be too attached to our lives, and about not being, if we are greedy for more, then that is a very dangerous path. We should abide by what we have and do not, for example, take out more loans. If, say, we had taken out a large loan, then it would be very difficult to last through this pandemic. And I think most entrepreneurs, most business people, about 90% of them would be hurt in this pandemic. Those who work in the medical industry is probably good, but for the rest of us, it is not. The pandemic has a very big impact, and I think that we need to heed Master's words that we need to understand that all conditions in the world are impermanent. Indeed, and as business people should learn from you to contribute and to pay back to the society, contribute back to the society. I think Master teaches us to give back to the society, and this is what Tzu Chi people should be doing. This is our duty. So, brothers and sisters, let's listen to what Master has talked about in regards to Indonesia.
Saat ini kita perlukan, bukan saatnya kita untuk saling menyalahkan, tetapi saatnya kita untuk bersinergi, bekerja sama untuk menolong teman-teman kita yang memerlukan, yang sedang sakit.
Kita sangat mengharapkan barang ini langsung bisa dimanfaatin. Mungkin mereka juga sangat membutuhkan. Jadi mungkin persiapan itu memang agak kurang sih ya.
Tuan dari Tzu Chi untuk Mas Sakit ada soal dukungan pada tim medis, yang mana mereka sangat membutuhkan adalah alat APB, itu alat pelindung dini untuk para medis yang di rumah sakit itu.
Ini伫这一波冠状肺炎的病毒，3月开始疫情啦，真明显啦。印尼的主治人之前啦，医生已经警告，有真多的疑备啦。一旦有人需要，因马上呢就是量付出，对当地医疗所需要呢。充分供应， 物资呢，伫迄个所在亏欠，爱从外采购，就是讲当地伫印尼的执行长所问他伫迄个所在，也是呢执行处事啦，真正呢正确，但是呢需要力量。副执行长可再原技术，人伫新加坡接到信息啦，发挥了伊大事业家迄种事业的魄力。人伫新加坡为印尼啦，远距离的调度。真诶，非常诶顺畅，互伊印尼内底人力、物力发放真平衡，安尼呢去付出，阁有金光集团、黄龙联呐。也是负责局长，伊的人面真大，事业真大，所以呢，他发挥了迄份呢，要安怎募集，要来呼吁企业家呢来付出，总共啊，伫印尼呼吁10亿，当地呢。的企业家非常的踊跃，除了大力量的付出啊，也阁有每一个和和互协、对主核心，安尼看无心、无人、无爱，推素食。因呢，都安尼伫咧分享，大力的人伊出大力，小力的人呢伊尽心力，安尼伫咧付出，所以印尼啊这一波真正的响亮呢，受了当地政府。从总统一直到地方社会啦，就赞叹的啊，表扬了这光耀在印尼，实际呀为社会付出这一群的企业家，迄种的大力量。造福人间，迄种付出，真正是真光耀啦，真大的力量。这一波啦，印尼呢，真多啦，堪受赞叹。相信做的人，逐个人呢，拢有这个心境。欢喜踊跃，经过了大家人的赞叹啦，做虽然付出无所求，但是呢，被赞叹啦，当然啦，也是内心那一份的欢喜啦，这心无障碍，但无有要求，无有讲付出啦。啊！我要求袂到，或者是我付出啦，我控高，我傲慢都无，所以这都无障碍吼。所以这就是最心美妙，迄种的心呢，就是欢喜啦。迄种欢喜是很微妙的欢喜，不是自我扩大。的欢喜， 所以不是自可控带啦，那就是微妙那种欢喜踊跃啦，最性微妙，讲照世界，这不是干那讲印尼，应该呢，这也记得恁呢，大家人拢会当知影，也赞叹呐，所以好好，因不断互相传音教法论，这也就是声音的法论。因安尼，伫迄个当地啦，那人人相传呐，那人人相传呐，这宪法呢，已经亲像轮啊共款，这叫做宪法轮啊。有做有人传，听到文艺报道伫迄个所在，媒体是安怎报安怎称赞，这就是因教法轮呐。所以有做有得有欢喜，也普及呢，人人所赞叹吼。这些安怎呢会当做甲方向遐深呢？拢连阿爷他们都两个，因拢安尼讲，那就是要感恩师父，就是师父安尼甲阮讲，回馈社会啊，是啊，爱回馈社会，爱造福人间啊，法有信。听入去啦，相信这个法方向是对的，跨步呢踏出去，步步踏实，这呢就是信解，相信，哪做哪了解，已经呢，自这27年伫印尼啦。已经今年第27年咯，27年前啊，迄个是，迄个所在最需要的是，自这是安怎入去，因认识自这，甲师父结缘。是虾米因缘过来？这呢，都是来自有因啊，所以因将迄个时建立了信，师父讲的话了解，信受奉行，所以一路直直过来啦。静静来感想，因为因有信，了解话中的意，因依法受教，所得到的迄个微妙啦，道理入心啦，付出，这也就是入行欢喜地，真正因就是安尼。造福人间，时时定定得到人的赞叹，徛伫迄片的福地里，所以呢，入行欢喜地啦。
Giving without asking for return, sowing the seeds of love in harmony. Taking faith in the path of the Dharma and giving light to Indonesia. Thank you, Master, for her blessings to Indonesia. Now we've heard we've heard the sharing from Brother Guo Zaiyuan, who has contributed with so much joy. Let's thank him again. Next, to share with us is what we've been looking forward to is the progress on Tzu Chi's hospital in Indonesia. We have the person in charge of the hospital construction project, Brother Zheng Guokui. Please go ahead. Dear Master, Master of the boat, and CEO Lin, Brother Stephen Huang, and all brothers and sisters at TIMA, good evening. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Today, I will report to everyone on the progress of our hospital construction. We had originally planned to inaugurate a hospital in November this year, but because of the pandemic, we were unable to keep to our original schedule. So we are going to inaugurate the hospital next year. Here, I'd like to thank Master's encouragement for us to mindfully build a hospital, to do a good job with equipping it, and that we do not need to be constrained by time pressure. We can postpone it. The hospital is built on 2.6 hectares of land. It has a total construction, total floor space of 136,000 square meters and 23 stories. We have a total bed count of 520. In there are VVIP rooms and rooms of different categories, as well as ICU rooms, ICCU rooms, and specialized rooms for stroke, for children, for infants, for bone marrow transplant, for quarantine, and low immune system capacity, and as well as palliative wards. This image is what we would see from the ocean. So in front, this is Tzu Chi Hospital. And on either side, the tall buildings are businesses owned by Tzu Chi people. I believe this is the headquarters of Brother Guo Zaiyuan's business. I'm very happy today to show Master the logo of Tzu Chi is already on the building. Let's take a look. We are very happy to see this site. So on the right is our design, and on the left is what the hospital actually looks like today. So on the right is the design, on the left is the actual photo. Again, this is what the hospital looks like at night, the design and the actual construction. This is the front door of the hospital. This is inside. This is the design, a render of the design, and this is what it actually looks like today. So we are very close to completing our construction. We are going to be putting up the mural very soon. And on the right is the render of our design. This is where patients come to check in. And this is the nurses' station. These are actual photos. And this is the outpatient service, the design, and this is the the actual photo. So things are coming along, coming together. This is the shops area and the garden, the rooftop garden. This is the garden for the palliative care rooms. So the actual photo is a bit different from the design because the actual trees still need to be propped up. But after a few years, we'll be removing the supports for the trees. And we're also very happy to see that our CT scan, our big diagnostic equipment have all arrived. On the right, we see this is our MRI machine. And another MRI and CT scan. This is the actual photo. The equipment is here already. Another CT scan. This is in place now. Also a CT 64 slice simulator and an X-ray machine. This is an operating theater that is under construction. It's getting close. Another operating theater. It's under construction. And this is the LINAC. This is a linear accelerator. It's being installed. And this machine is very special. It came from Australia. And we are adjusting the machine. This is probably going to be the first successful installation. And because of COVID, it has exposed the lack of the quarantine rooms in Indonesia. So in our hospital, we have dedicated the 9th floor to be a quarantine floor. This is the floor plan. And if we have not done this before, so we welcome your feedback and opinion. Thank you. The project team has a video conference meeting every Thursday. But foreign technicians are unable to come to Indonesia to help with the installation of the large equipment, but everything else is going according to schedule. We have over 1,000 people working on site each day, and we are keeping everyone safe. We just passed another full inspection on September 22nd to 23rd. And this is our part of our process of screening everyone. This is done regularly. We are very happy that up until now, we have not had a positive case on our construction site. And because of the pandemic in March, we had to change our plan of sending medical volunteers to Taiwan for training. So we are going to be training our volunteers starting in, we started training them in August. And our medical staff who were supposed to go to Taiwan for training are going to be moved to next year. So, and our operational plan is to start operation originally wanted to start operations in November this year, but that is being postponed until April of next year. That is going to be a limited trial run with only 100 beds. And in the second phase, we are going to start operating in August with 200 beds. And this is, we have 36 support staff, 26 nurses, and 6 assistance people, 8 people in IT, 23 in administration, for a total of 99 staff. Then this is the staff currently. On the first Saturday of each month, they connect online for training. This is the hospital volunteers. And for our professional staff, will be having their training once a month on Saturday. This is the Gantt chart for our progress. And let's take a look at the lower rows. We are going to be applying for hospital's license starting in January, and then applying for the licenses of our staff shortly after. And we hope that everything will be ready for operation by the last week of April. So this is the schedule we're following. And this is our recruitment plan. Starting this year, currently we are going to be having a staff count of 103 up to 206 by December. And for next year, we're looking at 260, 275, 385, and 515 by April. This is our recruitment plan. So thank you. Next, I'd like to show a video.
Thank you, everyone. I truly thank for Brother Jen's sharing. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time hearing from my sharing for now. This is Chiji. I'm sorry because of the time. Here is a simple sharing. In 2018, and there were the earthquake hitting and also caused a tsunami right there in Palu. and there were 2,100 people were died because of that. A lot of people were the serious hurted. Over 4,000 of them, and 83,000 of them were hurt, and also 115 houses, 1,000 houses were knocked down before and because of the earthquake. I'm sorry because the time is limited. Here is only the short film I want to share with you. In 2018 September, the earthquake struck the place. The tsunami is coming. That was 7.4 of the earthquake hitting Palu area. (2018 September, 6 p.m.) That was 7.4 earthquake hitting the middle of Sula area, Palu city. My child was only 4 years old. I saw his shoes and clothes. I think of him. I miss him whenever I saw the picture. In short time, the city of Palu, the places around the area, a lot of people lost their family member. They don't have any. Their houses were knocked down. After receiving the news, on the second day, Tzu Chi volunteers went into the disaster area and going to the hospital to pay their caring because it's damaged of the way for people to walk in. But volunteers, they took the army flight to go to Sugianto city and it take 18 hours of the traveling to walk into the serious damaged area. And then that was short-term aid we carry out. In 2019 September, Tzu Chi Indonesia and Army headquarters decided the cooperate contract also included how they can help the people from Palu building over 3,000 buildings for the people who were suffering, losing their house. For volunteers all around the world, start fundraising for the construction for the village. 2019 March, Tzu Chi Indonesia in Palu city. In the city and the village, they start to break ground for the Great Love Village. We hope that the disaster can be there's no more disaster happening anymore. After 1 more years, there's still some survivors are still living in a tent or temporary shelter. Age 15-7, she's a single mom. She with her 5 kids in Palu city and rent a small house. And her 6th child was born in disease, and she only sold the dessert to make a live. We can't reject, but only what we can do is face what we encountered. And her 8th child was studying in the high school and using his both hand to earn his tuition to continue his study while building the Tzu Chi Great Village. And we are having the assessment to see who can apply for the living of the Great Village. And how we do the relief work is we have to make sure, like what they need is the housing. So Chiji built that village, and including the school, religious place, the market. We think for the villagers, this should be enough. This is the village number 1. We had 1,500 houses, and also including the school, religious place, and recycling center. While building the places, we also have the support from the government, also everyone's dedication and help. And this is the Vice President of Indonesia visiting the village, the first village built in Balu City. Because of the support and help of Chiji Indonesia, I felt surprised how quickly it has been done. Because of this, the way how we did it, I believe it can carry on, continue. How the government and the private sector can have more cooperation, especially when the disaster happened. It would be a great cooperation, and have that the survivors have the house, can also comfort their what they are suffering. After they can stay where they can stay into the village and they can start their work. They don't have to worry anymore. And also, the volunteers are preparing everything what the house need, like beds and everything. And finally, we get a chance to get together with family. We don't have to bordering or share the house with others. I'm grateful to receive the house, can live in the Dai village, can make my life better. And this is a ceremony we handing the house. Because of COVID-19, everybody can't feel ease. 471 houses were handed to the villagers. When we handing house ceremony, also cooperate with the government. And the rest of the house will also having the handing ceremony to the villagers. And he's asking, do you know which a number of your house? You watch out, send her to where her house is. We feel grateful. Because of that, we always seize the opportunity, even though some of them are still living in the shelter, and we want to create a good affinity with them and hope them they can stay in a better place later on. Whenever the disaster happened, they were suffering. And between Balu City, the volunteers has been traveling for over 20 times. They've been traveling for over 88 hours. So over 137,000 of the kilometers they have been traveled. When they are hopeless, Chiji volunteers walking to help them, accompanied with the great love, and also hoping the volunteers can overcome the shadow they've been encountered. I truly thank for Chiji Foundation and gave us the housing. We've been staying for a long time in the shelter. We're truly thankful. So that's where you can see the recycling center, the schools and everything, the religious place within the Dai village. Brothers and sisters, this is Chiji Indonesia's sharing. Thank you, Master Cheng, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chiji Indonesia, and thanks for their great dedication.